Let's talk today about how to work with designers. And I'm talking about people who are able to do Photoshop, Illustrator, who can freehand draw, or just someone you want to outsource some of your extra work to. Because I'm hearing a lot of horror stories on people who aren't getting the work that they want or are just having bad vendors. And I really don't think that's true. I don't believe that anybody sets out to work with you or be your employee or do an assignment and do a bad job. They all really want to do a great job and make you happy. So I honestly think 100% of the problem resides with you. I think that not being able to provide clear directions, or maybe sometimes you're worried that you're going to offend somebody by giving too much direction, then becomes an issue because you're not getting the final end product that you want. So let's talk today. I have a cheat sheet on how to set up your staff for success. And really, I think this could apply to your virtual assistant, to your social media manager, to your Facebook ads manager, to anyone that you're working with. And I do have a cheat sheet for you below. And it goes through an example, and then it has a blank page that you can fill out and give to somebody else. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa from Pretty Fabulous, and I help creative entrepreneurs create pretty pages using Adobe InDesign. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I post new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I do product reviews on Saturday. So today we're just talking about how to work with your designer so that both of you come out at the end super excited, extremely happy with the work that you receive, and excited to work together again with absolutely no hard feelings. And this doesn't matter if you hire someone on Fiverr, on Upwork, or it's somebody on your staff, or somebody that came through a referral. I think as the client, let's say, the more prepared and the more definitive you can be on what you want, the better your chances are of having a successful outcome. Because I've seen a lot of questionnaires out there from designers, and they ask just crazy town questions like, if you were an apple or a piece of fruit, what would you be? And why does it make you feel like that? Like, they're doing a little too much branding. And I think if they instead just kind of stuck to, exactly what the assignment was and more logistical, like tactical questions, I think everything would turn out better. Now, having said this, the number one thing I'm going to assume that you have is a branding guide. If you don't know what a branding guide is, then check out my free branding course, Branding 101. It's a 5-day branding challenge, but it helps you to create a branding guide because honestly, whenever you work with anybody, you have to be able to tell them your logo, your colors, your typography, the look and feel of your brand. All of those should just be a given if you are a business. And if you don't have that in place, then all these other questions probably won't even matter. But the first thing you should know is that you should never go into it kind of with what I call this egalitarian attitude of, us against them, or, they probably suck. It's going to be the worst assignment ever. Just go in with a more positive attitude and expect great things to happen. The next thing is really the W sheet. So the W sheet is all of the who, what, when, where, why questions that I don't know why are just not being answered. So I think the biggest one is the why. Sometimes people feel like, why should I bother telling them why I'm doing this project? It's just some loser on Fiverr who's charging $5, right? I've heard people say that. It's just kind of rude, right? Like, I've been on Fiverr too as a vendor. Like, I do things, especially when I was starting out. It doesn't mean you're a loser because you're on Fiverr, even though everyone loves using it. There seems to be like almost this condescending attitude when you work with a Fiverr vendor. So that's why I'm saying just put that out of your mind in the beginning. There are very talented people out there on Fiverr who are much smarter than you and I, doing great things to help people in their businesses. So the first thing you want to ask is who's doing what. So usually with the design, I will say I'm going to design it on a piece of paper or give you examples. And this is really what I do when I need things drawn. I have no skills to draw whatsoever. I lack that talent. So I say I'm going to draw it, but what you are going to do is digitize it into a vector image inside Adobe Illustrator. So that way everybody knows who's doing what, and I'm going to give you these examples, and then you're going to send me a proof before you finalize it and color it, right? Just sketch something out. The second thing is, what are you doing? So I try to tell them overall, I'm trying to create a card deck and I can't draw. So I want all these characters to match and have the same look and feel. And I would like you to do that, right? So again, like I think sometimes people just assume because it's Fiverr, they don't want to tell people their overall goal, or maybe they're worried someone's going to steal your idea, which I always do a double eye roll at. No one's going to steal your idea. It takes a lot of work to steal. I mean, if you ever tried to steal somebody's work, it takes a lot of work to recreate whatever they made and then to try to like hide it, right? If you want to make it seem like you didn't steal it. So yeah, so that's why I say don't even worry about that. When is it due? So some people say by Friday. So to me, by Friday means like, is that Thursday at midnight? Is that Thursday at midnight my time? What time zone are you in? Is that by the end of the day? Like, what does that mean that it's done? Does that mean the sketch is done? Does that mean all of the final files are done? So be really definitive on what needs to be done when, and what time zone you're in, right? Because if you're working online, there could be many different time zones. The third thing, or no, I guess the fourth thing is where should the final files be placed? So I always provide a Google Drive. I don't like the way the files are delivered in a zip file. I don't know that I can find things on Fiverr because I use a lot of people there and it's hard to find things later. So I just create a Google Drive for them and give them permissions to edit and do whatever they need to. And then after they're done, then I can just remove that person that I'm sharing it with. The other thing is why. So you want to give them context, right? So I always tell people, the reason I'm asking you to do this is because I don't know how to draw. That's why I've outsourced this. And that's why, my chicken scratch drawings of what I think I want to look like, don't even worry about trying to match it. The drawings are terrible because I cannot draw. Here's really what I want it to look like, but the drawing is supposed to help supplement that. The next question is how. And I know it sounds silly to tell someone how to do it, but I want source files, right? So I want the actual files in Adobe Illustrator. So I want to tell them that you can vectorize this or draw this in Procreate or whatever app that you have, but I want the final file in Illustrator. And I also want the hair separate from the face and separate from the body and separate from the clothes so that I can turn on and off different layers in case I want to edit it later. So it's really important you tell people that because some artists don't want to provide those types of files, and that might be something you really need and you wouldn't want to pay for just the actual end file. You need all those different components. You want to ask what's in it for me, which is a financial incentive, obviously, and maybe you have future projects coming up down the pipeline, as well as you might want to provide an extra incentive like, I really want this done a week early. So if you can, knock it out of the park ahead of time, I am willing to give you a $50 tip or an extra $300 bonus or whatever you think is fair based on the amount of work that they are providing and the time frame that you've sort of compressed for them as a goal. It's always just nice to give people options. And then the other thing is you want to define what makes a good, a average, and a poor result for you with actual examples of maybe past clients or past vendors or service providers you've worked with where it didn't work out so well and why, so that then they kind of have that in their mind when they're creating your final results. The other thing too is you want to do some follow-up at the end. So you want to give them some positive feedback as well as what didn't work out so well and suggestions on how you guys could work together better in the future. And really important, you want to ask for feedback for yourself as well. Maybe you changed the requirements midway through, or you thought you were being great by giving them a video explanation of what you're doing, but English is not their first language and you talk so fast. I know I talk extremely fast. And so without having text to go with it, it kind of just went over their head and it was totally useless. So it would have been better just to put everything into an email. Or maybe you gave things, piecemeal instead of in one big assignment at the beginning, and it caused them a lot of frustration, right? So I think getting feedback and giving feedback is helpful for both parties, especially for you as a manager or somebody who is a client, a future client with somebody else, and also for them as an employee and a service provider. The only thing I would add that I did not put on today's list is legality. So I would make sure that you know who owns the final product at the end. I actually had a lawyer draw up a whole set of release documents for things that are hand drawn. Now, things that have stock photos or other graphic design elements are a little different. So I don't do any of that. I just do those usually myself. So I don't have any wording for that. But I would definitely check with the lawyer because it does vary by state, and it makes a difference too if it's the person you're working with is in the US or if they're international, and how the whole transaction went through. So definitely check on that beforehand. I think you guys all remember when I did the wedding planner, I wasted thousands of dollars getting all these illustrations that I couldn't use. She was like, I thought you just wanted pretty pictures to hang up in your house, which I was like, that is crazy. But that's my fault because I did not predefine that with her ahead of time, nor did I have her sign a legal release to make all of those end products mine at the end to resell. So really important to add that if that is something, it's something you're using and something you're, I guess, not going to just hang up on your wall and look at as art. All right, let's go through that really quick because there were only 4 different things. The first one is go in with a positive attitude. Don't be condescending. Go in hoping it's going to work and treat that person as a professional no matter where you found them. The second thing is going through all of your W's, the who, what, when, where, the how. And then the third one is feedback at the end for both yourself and also to them. And the fourth thing is legality, if that would apply to your particular project. All right, I hope that list was helpful, and I will talk to you guys next week. Don't forget to download today's cheat sheet. I will leave it in the description below.